Greetings, I am Lies.
And I am Scandal.
And let's play a game together.
Woo!
Okay, so just following on the theme from the last one, real quick before we get moving in this story, I just want to say that a lot of games, the way they pitch it is like romance your way, love your way. And so when they tell you it is your way, even if it's very simple, it's very that basic statement, it doesn't explicitly say you'll be able to build something you want and love. It does tell you that you're going to be able to have an experience that you want, and thereby you're going to have autonomy over it.
Right.
And that's what they're not allowing here, and they're not writing for it. And the thing is you don't have to have a massive amount of choices to write for your way.
Right.
You just have to make sure they're really included in what your writing space is, so the choices make sense when they arrive at them.
Right.
And so they really can either, even if it's only build two different types of character, of I'll be the good girl, I'll be the bad girl, to be incredibly reductive and simple, you could write a game that's like that with only two choices in every setting.
Honestly, that would be super fascinating, because the level of like value judgment, what makes a good girl versus what makes a bad girl, that could open up so many long discussions for like...
It could. On the other hand, you could have your character literally have their thought process for each of these choices.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And then it's very clear what you're choosing and where she's coming from. Anyway.
Well, where am I? Oh, right. I was at Luna's birthday party, and... OMG, Jonathan! I spin around to look at the guy who sleeps next to me. I spin.
Full turn. I
got up out of the bed.
Pirouettes around.
I just whee!
Stands up in the bed, almost hits your head on the top of the four-poster, spins in a circle, and then looks at him.
Honestly,
Woo!
you know what's been killing me?
Huh?
I feel really morbid.
What?
But I feel like I'm looking at a Scrooge adaptation. Do you remember the one where like these posters look wildly familiar? Like I'm going like this looks like
this
one
is
of the
Ebenezer Scrooge's bedroom. It's
yes,
fine.
it's
right,
so bad. He really is, Jonathan.
The guy next to me is really Jonathan. Looks through all the guys around me.
disappointed.
Oh, there's Jonathan.
We could have had the game.
We could have had something else. We're just going, it really is Jonathan. What if it was someone else? What then?
Oh, God.
Oh, here we go.
Did I and Jonathan... Oh, we did.
Are we able to remember this, or are we discerning
I'm not going to
somehow?
insert that line, because that will make this even more inappropriate, but that's okay.
Oh, we did.
Oh, we did.
But did we do it, or did he do it?
I don't know.
right.
I struggled to find my smartphone that has fallen to the floor.
I know it's fallen to the floor, but I struggled to find it fallen to the floor. Where in the hell on the floor is it?
And that's being really aware, especially considering
you really
how,
could just be like,
out of it.
I struggled to find my smartphone. It's on the floor. Like, that implies I looked all the way around, at least to me.
Right.
Like, that gives me access to, I looked all the way around, this is where I finally found it.
Right.
And it can give you any length of time of padding around or trying to find it, or you simply roll over and look off the bed. Like, it leaves it open to interpretation.
Right.
But it's not like I struggle to find it that has fallen on the floor.
Like, I really cannot imagine. So part of me is like, okay, so in the sense of like a narrative, right?
Okay.
So imagine though, honestly, if you had started here, you start at your lowest point for your character.
Okay.
Right? That's what you were like last time we were talking about. I was like, no. Why not? Just start
the game
here.
right here, and then establish that she's a daddy girl, and then establish that she's super naive, then establish that this was super uncomfortable for her. Like,
right?
Start your character in this uncomfortable space.
Because some people say, yeah, just start where the most amount of drama is. This is a lot of drama.
Right, like you could start right here and build all of that experience that she's been given easily in the next few frames. Giving that whole picture of context of her life at home,
literally,
her dad being gone, everything.
The intro / setup to this almost feels completely unnecessary. Like, it feels like bad writing in that sense of being like, why do I, like, we already know, like, because most people socially will go, hey, you got drunk at a party, you were underage, and also, like, and you might have actually gotten drugged, which is terrible, by the way, and also then you ended up sleeping with your abuser, or somebody who was basically being a predator in regards to trying to get you to sleep with him.
Right, being really aggressive of this is my only agenda.
Right, which is terrible. Like, you have a lot to start with
right here.
without dragging your player, or basically your reader, through that.
So when I've done book editing for friends and occasionally like semi-professionally, there's this experience of going, a lot of people, I don't know where to start, right? So some people just like write this long, meandering, ridiculous intro just trying to get their book started.
Right.
And the thing is, and that's great, get your book started. But then go back and go, does this intro still make sense?
Does it throw off your pacing? So we've actually complained a little bit about like the Genius games to begin with. They have terrible pacing.
Yes.
A lot of them have some horrific pacing. But the thing is that because also the story is not the highest priority, it's actually getting the money out of you, whether or not you realize that, even if it's what's nice. So, and I say nice loosely about the Genius games, like the Genius model, is that you can at least watch ads, so you're not forced to buy basically premium currency. There are other games that you literally have
There's no way to move forward but use cash.
Like in regards to like the Arcana. Yeah, sure, now they introduced basically their wheel spinner, but as far as I understand, so when the game initially started, it had none of that.
I say choices is that way though, like you can't ever get
choices is you have no choice, like, you must buy.
You get the first chapter free, your downloaded app comes with like 2 additional chapters for free because it gives you 2 keys.
Right.
And then after that you have to buy or you can't read anything.
Yep, and that's it.
Like that is it. You get the first chapter free. Blech. To read anything more, you have to pay. Now the thing is they're selling novels. They're not really, here, play a game, maybe you'll pay us money. They're just selling novels. That is their business model.
Right.
I say, but anyway, so like there's a lot to unpack
chapter
here.
By chapter.
But I would tend to say, if you're doing a game like this, find out what this is and like how you want to bring your person into your character.
Right.
Because right now she has no dreams, she has no aspirations, she has no goals other than I'll kind of please daddy, I'm trying to come into my own a little bit vaguely. This would be a great place to start your game. Right here.
Yeah, it would be fantastic. Kayla left me, not leaves me.
Currently, right now, she's sending you many
messages.
Instantly. You woke up because of constant
Kayla leaves me. That's why I was looking for my phone. It was because it was screaming and my head hurts.
Ow.
Ow, it leaves me countless messages. And they're all going, a message is here.
A phone call is here. Yes. You have mail. You've got mail. Yes.
She's worried about me because she couldn't find me last night.
Honestly, I would go further than that and be like, you know your friend has no parents and no one else watching for them and no one else who knows them here.
Yeah.
So if you can't find this person, I would be like calling in adults, calling in more people, calling in something else. Going, if I am here and sort of in charge of my friend, going I can't find you, and I appreciate you have to give up at some point, like you do. On the other hand, you would think someone in that entire party would be able to help. However, if Kayla got smashed and sort of, I couldn't find you and I passed out somewhere, or I got a ride home and passed out.
Kayla knows Luna. Luna, in this case, this is why sometimes parties get really awkward.
Kayla actually does know Luna.
Yeah, Kayla would be like,
I cannot find this person.
And then, because it's Luna's house, guess what? Luna could very easily just break through basically all the doors. Like, that is one of those things you need to realize if you ever stay over at somebody's house during a party.
They own that house.
They own that house.
They're like, hi, who's in here?
Which is what makes renting also terrible if you ever get a rent from somebody, because they really can just throw you out or walk into your space, which is awful.
Except for
unless you have a very specific agreement with them that you don't.
Standard renters contracts say that when you are renting, even if it is a bedroom in a larger space, they do not have permission to enter that space without your permission.
Right.
But you have to make sure it's a standard renting agreement. If it's a verbal agreement or something, yeah, there's
no way to reinforce that.
Very little feet to stand on.
Yes.
At any rate, so yeah.
Yeah, she couldn't find me.
What I would tend to say is, if she got so smashed, she's like, I need to find her, and then she passes out and someone drives her home kind of thing. Right. And she really couldn't have done all of that.
I mean, honestly though, okay, so the thing that bugs me that I feel like people forget about is that you eventually sober up.
You do.
You really do. Like, people go, I just got so tired. I'm like, if you're freaking out and you're panicking.
And did you then wake up and go, I'm just going to send you 900 messages, I'm not going to talk to anyone, I'm not going to do anything. Now, if she's panicking and going, no one can know that I lost you because it will be great shame on me, then I can't ask anyone about you because I've passed out until 5 in the morning or something like that.
I mean, there are plenty of options.
But it would be cool to connect us to that a bit.
Yeah, just a bit. Should I go now, or should I wait until Jonathan wakes up?
Oh my God, is that a choice?
He seems to be in a deep sleep.
That's a boy sleeping.
I better just go now. I was about to say, if there's a choice, we're gonna walk away.
Yeah, bye.
Like, goodbye.
You're supposed to be
immediately going to go find out if
oh my God, really?
To my surprise, Kayla has been waiting for me at my door, and I look like ass, and I smell like booze.
She changes her clothes, though. Props for that. Because there are games where they do not change their outfits the entire game. So, 3 weeks go past and nobody changes clothes. So, props for that.
Yes, definitely. All right. Well, She gives me an upset look as she sees me walking towards her.
This is also not the building we were at last night.
No. No, this is her house.
Oh.
Did you really not read what I said? Like, she's waiting for me at my house. She's waiting
outside of my house.
Yes.
Okay, so this is our house. Okay.
Yes. But as soon as I get closer, she seems to be more worried instead. I misinterpreted. I was freaking out. Okay, that makes sense.
Wow, Bern, you look like a wreck.
I really am.
I see.
But I have the worst headache. Actually, I went down to the kitchen, though, and I, inhaled water. I frown due to the severe headache, never mind, that's afflicting me. If I would be stereotypical, I would have sunglasses on my head and on my face.
And be like, ow,
I would be like, ow, don't talk to me, my whole life sucks. And I have a towel over my shoulders or something.
Or over my head as well.
Right.
On the other hand, we just walked out of someplace and apparently walked home from there.
Uh-huh.
How far away is our house from that other house? It's just 2 mansions down the street. That was the whole thing.
Honestly, though, considering that rich people, especially in specific areas, really do like having a lot of land, you'd be there for a while.
Or if we're in a really big city, and this is more like Umbrella Academy, high-rise apartments, high-rise mansions, and so we really are 2 giant complexes down, and that's it. And that's our McMansion instead of theirs, except it looks again, it is a converted apartment building into a mansion because it's in a city, and you couldn't just build it in the middle of a city.
All right, that would be interesting.
You need to set that up somehow.
It's
fine. All right.
It's fine. That's you. Come
I know.
on.
I'm sorry. I was just were you with Jonathan last night?
I tell her everything.
Do you remember everything? People don't have to have memory loss at all. But we haven't established that we actually know everything.
Right?
It's been glossed over. What?
It isn't something that everybody should know.
That you sound like you were taken advantage of? I mean, fair, that is very personal, but holy crap. I'm sorry, but this is Jonathan. Wow, Bern, Mama's proud of you. Oh my God.
What?
She's like, but this is,
this is terrible.
So she basically went, I'm sorry that happened, but this is Jonathan we're talking about. I read that wrong. Wow, Bern, Mama's proud of you. You bagged a good one. You rolled with a catch. That is what I'm hearing now. Going, I'm sorry it went that way, but damn, with him? This feels much like that kind of, this feels like that trope of basically, if a woman takes advantage of a man sexually, it's the, hey, you got sex, congratulations. And the sort of abuse or discomfort of the situation is just pushed aside.
So that, we don't have to deal with it at all. I feel like sometimes the reason why they do that is because, it wasn't actually bad. It was good. Just because it's also, the sex was good, even though if I had to guess, especially if they were both drunk, it probably lasts 2 minutes.
Or it probably just wasn't that good because, again, it suggests she's never done this before.
Yeah, no,
now maybe she does. Maybe she's had a lot of sexually active, partners and she's been active. But based on what we've told so far with the narrative, it seems like she hasn't done much at all. And most protective daddies don't approve of, if they're not going to approve of alcohol and going to parties and stuff, of you having
boys
sexual partners when you're young.
I hate that trope so much. I hate the protective dad trope so fucking much.
I say, now that
I'm gonna take a gun and I'm gonna shoot the boys who are gonna come to the door. I'm gonna be that dad.
I say, now that doesn't have to be the case.
No.
But a lot of parents are really this idea of, I'm uncomfortable with my child having sex, basically
acknowledging that kids have sexuality. God, I've always hated that. Of people being like, don't bring up this stuff, don't talk about it. And it's like, what? You expect then, again, that thing we've talked about multiple times over this of going, that as soon as you become 18 or as soon as you become 21, poof, you have all the knowledge in the world.
And you suddenly have a sexuality, an orientation, a sex drive, and all of those kind of things.
And particularly in the United States. Away from me, because I don't want to think about any of it. And you just kind of look at them and you're like,
how is your child going to be equipped for any of this? Again, I never got any of those talks of how to deal with boys, basically, or dating, or what it should look like, what good consent looks like, what what consent looks like, what saying no looks like, anything. I just got, don't do it until you're married. and basically don't do it was any of it. Like I was actually, when I was quite young, so mid to early teens, was engaged for a little while because basically my family was so excited about the idea of, you know, this Christian way. The way I had interpreted their Christian ideals was that you have to be with somebody that you're not sexually attracted to, because otherwise you're going to make a mistake. So that I had this childhood friend, and everyone's like, you guys are so cute together, maybe you should just, you know, get married. And basically the adults came up with this idea that we could be engaged, and so he and I talked about it, and we were like, okay, sounds fine. So it was just kind of like semi-arranged marriage kind of thing, even though that wasn't really like a thing that our families like did at all. It was just kind of like the adults kept suggesting it, like, you're so cute together, this would be so adorable, wouldn't it be darling if our, you know, us who were childhood friends, our kids got together kind of thing, and it's so wholesome. And so we both went, okay, and we were engaged for a while in this kind of way, and it was like, I was never attracted to him like that at all. Like I had no sexual attraction to him.
Well, it was like,
so I thought that was the best possible thing in the world.
Well, I was gonna say,
because
like,
then you're
I don't know,
completely safe, you won't sin.
right? Which is fucking terrible.
Which is how I was raised.
Because sex is bad.
Right? Well, because sex is a sin if it's done outside of marriage, which is how I was raised, not how I believe now at all. At any rate, so Mama's proud of you. You bagged a good one. Forget any of your discomfort. Be put on your badge of honor.
Forget
Gold
potential
star.
issues.
I don't care if it was your first time having sex or not. Good job. Damn.
Or
you bagged that one.
Forget about having potentially UTI and STD.
Did you use a condom? Do you have pregnant? You know, can you get pregnant? All this stuff.
Like hygiene. Oh God. Yeah. About that.
Don't tell me he's bad in bed. Hey, that rhymes. No, it doesn't. Bad in bed don't rhyme.
Yeah, it doesn't rhyme.
That actually didn't rhyme.
She chuckles at her own lame joke.
Yeah.
I am very confused.
And uncomfortable.
But I will, you know, acquiesce to her, and I will kind of giggle with her
we are
because
gonna
I'm
say
really
that we
awkward.
didn't know.
Well, I can't actually judge if he's good or bad. He's my first.
There it is. So they did narratively inform us correctly that she is innocent, that she has, and I say innocent by unexposed, not sexually innocent. I'm just saying
I say
that
inexperienced. She's sexually inexperienced.
She's sexually inexperienced, and that she is sheltered in that way, that she is not worldly.
I will say I don't like that either, though, because again, one can be worldly without having sex. Does that make sense? Of like you know a lot about sex,
and I was gonna say innocence and naive can be used as synonyms.
Yeah, but the thing is,
how I intended to use it.
For me, though, especially especially with innocent, though, it tends to be cropped up again about moral things, which is why I'm like,
a moral connotation, which is unfortunate because the word doesn't, as far as I know, inherently have a moral value.
Except that I think it does.
In the actual dictionary definition, maybe it does.
I think it.
We're going to find out about innocence real quick.
Like historically speaking.
We go to the dictionary
because
we find out about innocent.
Well, my other question though is also like, how in the world did they become friends if this is what she does? Okay, so not guilty of crime or offense, which offense could be, you know, so arbitrary execution of an innocent man. Synonyms: guiltless, guilt-free, not guilty, blameless, not to blame, in the clear, impeachable, unimpeachable.
So again, this is your legal terms. Next.
Right, legal terms: not responsible for or directly involved in an event. Yet suffering its consequences.
This is more of a I didn't do it.
Free from moral wrong.
There it is.
There it is. There is a morality.
There is a morality
thing tied to it.
So it's mostly legal or moral. So I apologize for misusing that.
It's okay.
All right.
Like
He's my first, my dude.
Hi, he's my first.
And your first is Jonathan. We are going to shove this under the rug. Like, it sounds like your friend is sharing that they were assaulted with you, that they didn't and couldn't consent to this.
Right.
That it wasn't what they meant to or wanted to do.
Honestly, though, sometimes, I will actually say, in my experience, based off of what I have heard, because I have never been involved in this culture much at all, but sometimes people really do just basically try to shove it down, of going like, but having sex is an accomplishment, but getting with a hot guy is an accomplishment.
It's a badge.
It's a badge. It's also a thing of being like, we don't want to acknowledge basically the awkwardness because it's always awkward. Or that thing where sometimes people, like, I've heard people talk about going like, sex is always basically bad. Why does it matter? You know, going like, but it was, I can't judge if it's good or bad because
So there's actually a really good TED Talk on basically women and girls' sexual pleasure.
Right.
And I will see if I can find it and link it in this video. But what it does is it talks about how basically the bar for girls is incredibly, incredibly low. Now I think it's speaking mostly in America.
Right.
So I'll look into that. But as I say, but basically the idea is if it doesn't hurt them, it's good sex.
Right.
Or if he didn't force something on them, that's good sex.
Right.
And they're like, and the person speaking is really like, okay, just because, like, having the bar be I didn't feel pain or I didn't feel force, and those are the only qualifiers to make good sex is so low.
Right.
You're basically in the basic human decency kind of like range.
Which was kind of a thing that I was uncomfortable with in regards to Yowie Beast Boys. So if you don't know how Yowie Beast Boys ended, there was a line that comes from Ian that made me incredibly goddamn uncomfortable. He was like, I'm just gonna keep going even if I can't walk, kind of thing. And I'm like, that sounds terrible. Like, or even if it hurts, I don't care, I want to keep doing this.
Right.
Like, or going like,
and going,
like it was awful.
You don't have to hurt your partner to have an intimate experience or to have an intimate sexual experience.
Or also going that also intimacy doesn't look like just one fucking type of sex.
Well, that's what I mean.
That's the thing.
Like, if there's a thing you're trying to do that is hurting, stop doing that thing. And you don't have to go, well, we'll figure out how to do it differently.
Right.
Just go, you don't have to do that thing.
Yeah.
Like, and the
You
thing
can
is,
just stop.
One of the things we've complained about is that it seems like sex in these games and a lot of media looks like exactly one thing. Like everybody goes, if you Googled sex, it would have a picture of a single position, and that would be all the sex in the world.
Look, it's the missionary position. Yeah.
If it's a penis and a vagina, it's the missionary position.
Yep.
And if it's like, you know, two penises, it's anal.
Yeah.
Like that's it.
Yes.
Like, so again, this channel is not for kids.
Yeah,
I'm saying,
absolutely.
but like that is the impression that fiction gives you, that basically if you have a penis and vagina, that penetration has to happen or you haven't had the sex.
Right.
And that if you have, again, two penises, penetration has to happen or you haven't had the sex.
It's not legit. Yeah, and there's also that thing too that's bothered me. Like, I've even seen it in fan fiction, and it's squicked me personally out.
Oh.
Even when they're like, I'm gonna be deeply romantic, you're like, I haven't actually had sex if we don't have the sex.
This one kind.
Everything is foreplay. Even if you get off multiple times, even if you whatever else.
Even if it has sex in the name, oral sex. It's not sex.
It's not
You
sex.
haven't done it yet.
You haven't done real sex.
Real sex.
And
And
it's
so
like, it bothers me.
That
Anyway.
bothers me completely. And this response from her friend is really uncomfortable to me. I don't like the fact that essentially what the narrative is saying to me, the way I'm reading it, is that Byrne just got assaulted and taken advantage of in a state where she could not consent and didn't want to, because
She's already resisted. Yeah.
She's already had resisted. She'd already had turned it down and backed off, and she was uncomfortable to the point of I'll just leave when she wakes up and going, I don't even know what to do with this. I'm so uncomfortable. And then coming to her friend of I'm super uncomfortable, and friend is just like, oh my God, don't be uncomfortable. You're amazing. That's
You
so
got laid by
cool.
a hot guy.
Exactly. And going, none of what you're saying matters. This is awesome. You should respond to this. This is awesome. Your emotional state is not valid. This is awesome.
Right.
Acts like it's awesome.
Well, anyway, thank you very much, guys, then, for joining us. If you like what we do, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And also feel free to share our videos, maybe to, like, start a conversation, or just because maybe you think we're fun.
I think because sometimes we are damn funny, and we like to mix funny with a good, like, dose of thinking.
Oh, yeah, because I think about it all the time, exactly when I'm talking and I'm doing the thinky-talky.
And you're trying to balance it. You know what? Now is a good time for a joke.
Oh, yeah, excellent. I know the perfect insert point. All right. Well, and then other than that, actually, if you want to support us more directly, feel free to go insert a point into Patreon or Ko-Fi.